At Community Action Commission of Erie, Huron, and Richland counties, we serve about 20,000 families per year.
Pathway serves over 20,000 households annually.
Stark County Community Action Agency serves about 15,000 to 18,000 household families annually. Obviously the coronavirus had an impact on that, but we continue to deliver services throughout this treacherous times.
After the pandemic hit, we served north of 20,000.
I'm really proud of our staff. We've been on the front lines at eviction court. They've been exposed. Some of our staff have been exposed to COVID. We had to go into quarantine, and they keep coming back. You know, we have staff that are mission oriented, so I'm very proud of the staff. And I'm very proud of the people that we serve. Man, we have some of the most inspiring stories of people who have overcome barrier after barrier to achieve self-sufficiency. And man, some of those individual stories have just been powerful.
I came to Pathway because I was one of what mainstream America calls those people. I grew up not too far from where we are today as one of those people. And I've had many people to help me along the way. And I made a personal vow to myself, if I was ever able to get out of my economic situation growing up, because we were poor, I would do everything I could to help lift other people out of poverty. And that is part of Pathway's mission statement, to move people from poverty to self-sufficiency.
To be in a position to help people who need help is a privilege, and I never take that lightly. And I remind our staff, this is a privilege. This is a privilege. My mother was in a position where she had to raise 3 daughters under the age of 10. And I remember her struggle. I remember government cheese and government bread and not being able to afford a lot of things and hand-me-down clothes. And to be in a position like this, where people like my mom, who could not get on welfare because she made $5 too much. The people that are doing that work are so committed to it. You know, I am privileged to work in an environment where the people who work here, they get this, they understand. And for many of them, they've been there. And again, they get to do this work and to help somebody else. And you'll hear that all over the agency. You know, they get to help. What do we do? Why are we here? I get to help. I get to help people who need help. What better thing Lord, I'm about to cry. What better thing can you do than to help people who need help? And we have the resources available to do it. Like I said, it's a privilege. It's a privilege.
I'm most proud that we engage. We engage and we do our best to listen to the needs of families, and we are a neighbor. We're not strangers. We're not separate. We're part of the community.
So collectively, ours member agencies receive more than $50 million in federal funds for CSBG, Head Start, weatherization, and more, and it is a part of our members' annual budgets. One of the larger and most beneficial services provided by 70% of the urban community action agencies is the Home Weatherization Assistance Program. We also call it HWAP. So HWAP is an energy cost assistance program that is designed to increase the energy efficiency of dwellings, reduce household energy costs, and improve the health and safety of residents who own or occupy properties in Ohio. And so today I am so happy to be joined by Mr. Gary Handy, and he is going to talk to us a little bit more about his experience with Mahoney-Youngstown Community Action Partnership, also known as MYCAP. MYCAP is a very reliable community service provider in Northeast Ohio and has assisted 14,428 individuals in Mahoney County. The MyCap program weatherized 78 homes in the past year, including Gary's. Gary, thank you so much for being with us today and being willing to share your story about the network.
Well,
We
thank you.
appreciate your time, and thank you so much again for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Gary, can you tell us a little bit more about how you found out about the weatherization program and what made you apply for it?
Well, I had applied for other assistance and they told me I didn't qualify. And they called me back like, I don't know, maybe a week later. And the lady asked if I'd be interested in this program. And I was like, sure, that would be fine, you know. And they sent a guy out and he did some testing and stuff. And he said that he would try and get me a new furnace, a new hot water tank, and insulation.
Well, that's pretty awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about what was that process like for you? What was the wait time like for you? And like, tell us a little bit more about your home as well. Like how long have you lived there? How old is the house? So that we can get a better understanding of how MyCap was able to service your needs.
Okay. My house was built in 1950. I'm the second owner. I've lived here about 3.5 years. And it just needed some insulation and a furnace and stuff. And I had called about help on the gas and electric bill. And I got denied for that. And a lady called me from MyCap and said they were doing a brand new program that started this year in Mahoney County and asked if I'd be interested in it. And I said, yes, I would be interested. And so she sent a gentleman out and he tested my furnace and he put this big fan in my doorway and it tests how much air's getting in and out or something like that. I'm not quite sure, but he said that he could do insulation, a new furnace, and a hot water tank. So he said it's going to be a while because we have other people on the list before me. And he said it'd be around the middle of November to the beginning of December. And he was right on because I got my furnace right before Thanksgiving. And then like a week after that, the insulation people came and was here for 4 days. And they all cleaned up after themselves. They were wonderful.
Oh my gosh, Gary, that is amazing. I can't even imagine how that has enhanced the holidays, how that has enhanced your, the quality of living just for you and your family and the comfort. So beyond receiving the service, what kind of education did you also receive about just weatherization and just keeping your home energy efficient? Were there some other things that you learned that you can also do as a homeowner?
They give me new LED light bulbs, and they give me new power strips for my TV and appliances. And I didn't know that much about insulation. I knew that houses had to have insulation, but I wasn't sure how much insulation. So they come in and they drilled some holes and they put insulation wherever they could put it. They did my attic. They did some of my walls that they could do that didn't have insulation in it already. And just set your thermostat at like a comfortable degrees. Like I set mine at 68. And since they did all the work, that seems to be really good for us here.
So Gary, that's pretty impressive. I mean, 68, because sometimes I could be a little bit of a cold baby, but with all of the work that you are having done or have done and the benefits from MyCap services and the weatherization program, it seems like you and your family are just having a much more comfortable setting. You could be in your household and just sit comfortably at 68 degrees. That's pretty awesome. Have you noticed some other changes perhaps in your energy bill or some other areas where you've been able to save money or save other resources?
I know when they put our new furnace in, our bill went down like $20 so far.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So By your best experience and recommendation, would you also suggest that other homeowners or community residents in your neighborhood also consider the services offered through MyCap and the weatherization program?
Oh, yes. I've told my neighbors because they're older and they have an older home than I do. And I told them about it and they said they were going to check into it. So hopefully they can get some assistance too.
Gary, this is awesome. We are so pleased to know that you and your family have been able to benefit from the services, the many services that are being offered through MyCap and some of our other community action agencies. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us and working with the crew or other things that might help other homeowners and other residents contact MyCap if they need assistance as well?
I'm going to tell you a little story. When the HVAC people came, my furnace was running and he says, "Lucky I'm here," he said, "because that sounds like that motor's going to go out here in the next couple of days." So I got really lucky on that one.
So safety was also a key factor as well.
Yeah.
That's important. That's very important. We're so glad that you and your family are both happy, you're safe, you're warm, you're enjoying all of the things that goes into this holiday season. So thank you so much again, Gary, for being with us today. We appreciate your testimony and just sharing more about the many opportunities at MyCap Community Action Agency.
Thank you. And I tell you, the people in Mahoning County, MyCap, they're very, very nice. They help you through things and explain stuff to you. And yeah, the gentleman was really nice. He's got to come back out one more time for a final walkthrough to make sure that the work that he assigned got done. They even fixed some of I didn't know I had gas leak, small ones in my basement, and they fixed all those too.
Oh gosh, Gary, I'd like to thank you for joining us today and sharing your story with us. I am looking forward to connecting with you later to hear how toasty you are in your home this winter. And to warm things back up, I want to take you all back to this past spring where our members participated in a vaccination public service announcement. 24 employees from all 11 urban community action agencies opened their hearts and shared their personal stories about getting the vaccination to encourage all of our communities that they serve, that we serve, that are here in this great state of Ohio. And now I'd like to share some of my favorite stories with you.
Unfortunately, I have not been vaccinated yet. My husband and I discussed it, and the very same week, my husband, myself, and my son came down with COVID-19 virus. There is still so much more to know about COVID. We had the virus. We were down for 3 weeks. It hit us hard. You do not want this. Get vaccinated. Please talk to a loved one today.
At first I was hesitant, but I wanted to get vaccinated because a lot of my family members have underlying health conditions. But if you want to make sure that your family is safe as well as yourself, the best thing to do is to get vaccinated. I actually had a friend, Dr. Ian Moore. He worked on the Moderna vaccine, and he's from my hometown. And just knowing somebody that I knew that worked on the vaccine made me more willing to get it. I got it for myself because I need to protect myself. That's the only way I could protect my family, is to protect myself first. Support your community and get your vaccination.
Prior to the vaccine becoming available, I actually became ill with COVID-19 in August of 2020. My wife also became very sick. We both experienced shortness of breath, headaches, and loss of taste and smell. We both had to quarantine from our children, which was a very scary moment for the both of us, not being able to take care of them. And so that's one of the reasons why we chose to get vaccinated. So what I would say to convince my neighbors to get vaccinated would be that we've lost at least 73,462 Black lives to COVID-19, and also that Black people account for 15% of COVID-19 deaths. Talk to a loved one today. Let's support our community. Get vaccinated today.
In June 2000, I contracted COVID. I was sicker than I'd ever been in my entire life. Before lockdown, my family experienced a traumatic loss. So not being able to come together in our moment of sadness was hard. So I got vaccinated for my grandbabies who lost their mother and for my family. I'm glad I did. After my second shot, the lingering symptoms improve. I'm not as tired and I can smell again. So getting vaccinated gave me a portion of healing and finally a feeling that I recovered. I didn't have that before vaccination. Let's support our community. Get vaccinated today.
The decision for me to get the vaccination was the fact that I'm over 65, I have high blood pressure, and the concern was that in this environment that I work in and have to be here as an essential worker, that it was very important that I get vaccinated. We've had a lot of virus in our building and several people got really sick. We've got to do it. We've got to keep people safe. We've got to keep ourselves safe. Support your community and get vaccinated today.
I chose to get vaccinated because I have a pre-existing health condition. Currently, my father is in a nursing home, and I have not been able to give my dad a hug in over a year. People of color stand a much greater chance of negative outcomes from COVID, and that makes it all more urgent to get vaccinated. For me, it was more about health, for my health, and being able to protect the people that I love and the people that are in the community. Talk to a loved one today.
I chose to get vaccinated because first it was the right thing for me to do. I know that I understand the importance of it, and I do believe that the vaccine is the hope of my tomorrow, and I want my tomorrow. I was never scared to get vaccinated because fear is one of the things in my vocabulary that I try to stay away from. And I was not going to allow one tiny little virus to dictate my life. My family is very important to me, and without them I would not be here, and that's the reason why I get up in the morning every day, and that's the reason why I took the vaccine. Support your community and get your vaccination.
It wasn't a hard decision for me to go get the vaccine. I'm a gentleman of a certain age and with underlying health condition, and I was just anxious to get back into society and with some kind of normality. Most people who I've spoken with who are hesitant to receive the vaccine, their biggest reason is that they're not sure of what's in the vaccine, and they're confused about what the other effects are, which are unknown. But what is known is that COVID-19 is a very painful disease to contract. If we want our society to return to any kind of normality, I encourage everyone to receive the vaccination, not only to protect me, but to protect yourself and your loved ones. Talk to a loved one today.
When I thought about getting the vaccine, I knew that I had to make a decision about getting the vaccine. My mom was the top priority. Just the thought of not being able to be with her or around her or hug her or kiss her, I'm not going to miss out on the moment. It was an easy decision for me. I think everybody has to do their part. They really do. And it's not just affecting us in America, it's affecting the whole world. It's so much bigger. It's so much bigger than you and I. Talk to a loved one today. Support your community. Get vaccinated.
want to personally thank everyone who participated in the PSA campaign. It was very near and dear to my heart. As many of you know, I was diagnosed with breast cancer during the pandemic, and all health that I had previously taken for granted was suddenly incredibly precious. And today I stand before you as a brand new survivor and a fully vaccinated individual who appreciate our healthcare system and being able to protect myself and my community. So again, thank you truly from my heart for making the campaign a success. I know without a doubt that we saved lives. The PSA campaign was one of the biggest projects ours has ever done in recent history. The fact that every agency participated shows how much our members have come to value the organization and the collective impact we have when we work together. One of our roadmap team members joined us to speak about the benefits she and her agency found in redoubling their participation in ours. I am so pleased to introduce Ms. Chelsea Wilkinson, a newlywed at that, the Director of Resource Development for Miami Valley Community Action Partnership. Chelsea's agency serves a large urban county with 3 mixed counties in the greater Dayton area. As a member of the roadmap team, Chelsea has been instrumental in planning key events and projects that benefit the entire membership. And even more importantly, I am so happy to call Chelsea my friend. She is equally passionate on the outside in her personal life as she is professionally. So thank you, Chelsea, so much for being here. I appreciate you very much. So quick question, Chelsea. Talk to us about when you first heard about ours and what you learned about it from the perspective of your position as a director at Miami Valley Community Action Partnership. And what led you to get more involved?
So first of all, thank you so much for asking me to do this. I'm so passionate about the work I do. And ever since joining ours, I'm really passionate about doing it statewide. And so I just really want to thank you for this opportunity to brag not only on my agency, but also on the Ours Network as a whole. And I also want to give a shout out to all of our roadmap team members because they are so amazing. But to give you a recap on how we got there, back in summer of 2019, you and the great Cheryl Grice graced us with your presence in Dayton during your statewide tour. And during that time, we really talked about what your vision was for the state of Ohio and how urban community action agencies could be a part of that vision. And we were immediately captured in that vision, and it felt amazing to feel like we were wanted in that space. And so we, without hesitation, joined. And you know, after a series of unfortunate events, it became really clear that the Ours Network was going to support us through thick and thin, and you've done just that.
Well, I have to say, I remember that that statewide tour. And, you know, likewise, the team at Miami Valley was equally welcoming, particularly at a time when there was so much going on in the Dayton community, and you guys were doing so much to be able to help your residents and other consumers. Tell me, Chelsea, about how you have personally benefited from being involved with Ours and the roadmap team.
Well, I started my community action career pretty early on in my career as a whole. And so being a young professional in this space was really challenging to navigate. And when we started as a part of Ours, that kind of imposter syndrome really melted away because I was really able to lean into my vulnerability. And I was embraced with open arms and lifted both personally and professionally in a variety of ways. And I think that this network gives us all an opportunity to take a step back and say, okay, what can I do and what can I adjust in my day to day to make the greatest impact in my job and in my agency? And personally, that has made all the difference, especially during the pandemic.
So Chelsea, I've been so excited to have you as a part of our roadmap team. And as you mentioned before, shout out to our other members of the roadmap team. We have a really, really wonderful group of emerging leaders, people who are leading the agencies through different programs, different services, and they kind of serve as this middle ground for us to be able to help our frontline staff members who are burdened with the responsibilities of making sure all of our customers are welcome and that they're receiving the services that they need. Are there other ways that you think that our members or agencies, staff members can be more involved in the entire network?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the best way to start is to absolutely follow all of our social media accounts. We have an incredible content manager who has really elevated our platform on social media to describe the full impact of all the amazing things that this group is doing. So the best source of information is there. And we also have a great newsletter that goes out with a ton of information, whether it be what our partner agencies are up to versus in any employment opportunities. And I think one thing we've talked a lot about as a network and serving all these spaces is, in addition to serving our customers, we also want to elevate our emerging leaders. And if we can have them involved in that Leader Link Summit and get involved in some of these spaces where we can develop leaders based on a community action curriculum and surround them with like-minded emerging leaders, we can really strengthen our network and broaden our impact as agencies if we can really lean into that collective impact opportunity. And you also just make really great friends. I mean, not to say that that's why we do it, but you surround yourself with brilliant, like-minded people who are passionate about the same things you are. It's hard not to become really great friends with these folks, and then you're able to spend your time making a difference in your community versus whatever you do with your other friends that aren't in the Community Action Network. So that's really important too. I think that the camaraderie and to be quite frank, the commiserating is an excellent release, especially when we're faced with enormous social issues that oftentimes get really frustrating when it seems like, when we move the needle a little bit and then something like COVID happens and it really uncovers all of the discrepancies and it really exacerbates all the issues that we're dealing with every day. So, what do they say? 1 step forward, 10 steps back. But what I will say is what Hours and the Hours Network has allowed us to do as we grapple with those 10 steps back, that journey forward doesn't feel so alone.
Absolutely. And when I was thinking about and just kind of, thinking through your words and your comments, one of the things that came to mind for me is iron sharpens iron. And the roadmap team, the members of the board, our consultants, our vendors, all that we work with, you're absolutely correct. It makes it so much more gratifying when you work with people that you absolutely care about, who share that same passion. So last thing, let's give people kind of a sneak preview. That Hours is beginning a strategic planning process that's going to last for the next 6 months. Tell us something that you're looking forward to come out of the new strategic planning process.
So I think a lot of people are really excited about all the collective impact opportunities that are available. But something I think I'm the most excited about, and it may be a little selfish, but the opportunity to pursue a CCAP, which is a Certified Community Action Professional. We talked about as a roadmap team, rallying the troops to get a cohort together to go through that process together. And I think that it does a lot of things. I think it strengthens this camaraderie that we've talked about a little bit. But then it also strengthens our network, right? We have this enormous brain trust of individuals who are very passionate about the work they do. But, community action is a really complex beast. And this CCAP credential really will give our emerging leaders an opportunity to be enormously more impactful and really, like I said, lean into their vulnerabilities and become more servant leaders because we've seen how important that is, especially in the wake of everything that's happened. So I hope that the strategic planning process really carves out a space for emerging leaders to take the Community Action Network here in Ohio to the next level.
Well, Chelsea, I thank you. I appreciate you. And thank you actually, not only for your involvement on the roadmap team and taking your leadership to the next level, but helping us lead through the CCAP certification opportunity. You're absolutely correct. The strategic planning process will give us a greater opportunity to show our impact, our collective impact in Ohio. So we appreciate all the work you do on behalf of our Miami Valley clients and the entire Hours Network. So thank you so much for being with us today, Chelsea.
Of course, it was a pleasure. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you so much, Chelsea, for all the great work you do in the greater Dayton area and for the Hours community. Next, we want to share a great story from Lorain County Community Action Agency, where a young man has transitioned from being a client to becoming a full-time employee and whose work is key in helping others.
So Raphael, let's dive into some of the things you've learned working at the bike shop and the food pantry.
So working at the food pantry, I learned a lot of customer service and communicating with the people, like developing my communication skills. That was a really good thing on that one. And then on the bike shop, it was more like an actual job, being there on time, every day you got a schedule. And then the same thing, communicating with people and just developing them skills needed to be successful in a real workplace.
Do you think you would be where you are today if you hadn't participated in the youth program?
I personally believe I wouldn't have been, because once this opportunity presented to me, it was like the right one. I was able to like experience the type of job I will be doing in the future in regards to my major, which is accounting. So I think it was the right opportunity. Without this opportunity, I don't think I would be here.
So Raphael, how does it feel being a part of the mission of the Lorain County Community Action Agency?
It feels great. I like the fact that we're helping the community getting their needs, like rental assistance right now. We see that a lot of people need it, and helping people keep a roof above their head is a really good thing. And not only that, but seeing how the whole agency just focus on the society and the community to make sure that they're good is a really nice thing.
Raphael, one of the things that really impressed me about you was your ability to listen, learn, and lead. You brought a lot of skills to the table with being bilingual and having an accounting background. How does that help you in doing what you do at the agency?
It just, it helps me like integrate myself, knowing that I can provide something that the agency needs. And me coming from the Spanish community pretty much, and knowing their needs and how does it feel when you don't know how to speak the language and you're in need of help, knowing that I can help them win that part is a good situation to be in.
What's next, Raphael? What is your long-term goal?
Well, right now I just finished my associate not long ago, and I'm working on my bachelor's right now. So the plan is getting my bachelor's, and after that working on my CPA, and going from there. Finding either staying with the agency or finding just looking for the next opportunity. That's pretty much what I'm looking for right now.
Well, you obviously have a bright future. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Bobby Taylor. Thank you, Raphael, for sharing that wonderful success story. We know it is one of many stories our network can tell that demonstrates the impact of the Ohio Urban Community Action Agency Network. Hopefully we'll all be invited to Raphael's graduation and then hire him as our next CPA. So again, thank you so much, Bobby and Raphael, for telling us the story from LCCAA. As we all know, the pandemic has unprecedented and created a level of need none of us could ever have anticipated. It also exposed a number of inequities and problems in our housing stock throughout urban communities in all of Ohio. Our urban community action agencies have always been resourceful, but these past 2 years have been extremely demanding. Members have had to expand or create rent-assisted programs to meet the dramatic increase in need. Collectively, we've been able to save more than 65,000 homes in the state of Ohio. I'd like to share with you some of the great work Ours members achieved during these unique times.
So at Step Forward, we provide right now, especially emergency services because of COVID. So before it was clothing and furniture and medicine and things like that, now it's rental assistance, it's mortgage assistance, it's water, it's sewer, it's everything, your basic things that we now provide. Now we provided them before, but on this scale, our organization has probably doubled in terms of the funding that we've received just because the help is needed.
Because of the pandemic, our situation here had at least 3 times more activity than normal, with clients needing rents, mortgage payments. We do home repairs out of this money, and it just has really snowballed into a big 3-time effort to get all this done.
So if we weren't here, you know, our shelter system would be overwhelmed. So I'm glad that we were able to be here to serve the public and to get the resources we needed and get them out to the community so we could stimulate the economy. So we talk about the impact on the tenants, but also on the landlords. We have a lot of landlords who had investment properties and their own houses were in jeopardy because of people's inability to pay rent. So us being able to pay that rent stabilizes not only that family, but the landlords, and it helps keep our economy stable.
Now, I will say the other thing that we provide that is new because of COVID, we've expanded our services. We have more partners now that are in more communities. So we've expanded to the Latino community. We were there before, but even more now. We're now in the Muslim community because they need the same help. You know, so we're trying to figure out ways that we can do this better. Not just the services that we provide, but how can we provide the services to as many people as possible who need the help.
Our agency is a leader because we are here to fight poverty. And with the change with COVID-19, the coronavirus, we were able to help a new face that was put on poverty because of the changes within our communities, because of the pandemic and the loss of jobs. And we were able to help people with their water bills, their rental assistance, and also mortgage payment. We helped people to stay in their homes. They weren't, avoided evictions. So that's what we did.
And the increasing the income guidelines made folks who would not have been eligible for any of our services, able to come in and get assistance with rent and mortgage and other things that we've gotten stimulus dollars for. And it's been a blessing because those are the folks who were immediately impacted. They were working, never thought they'd ever need an agency like this to come in for assistance, and boom, COVID hit. Either they couldn't work, or they were working less hours, or their jobs no longer existed. And having the ability to come in here was like a lifeline. I'd say 25% increase in the number of people that we've seen. And all of that increase I would attribute to people who were directly affected by COVID.
And then with us getting the new influx of customers that we serve, mental health was on the rise because these people were used to taking care of themselves. That hurt my heart so much. You're used to paying your light, gas, water, your mortgage, and the rug is pulled from under you and you have no place to go but community action. So we were glad to be here for them. And we did get a lot of people so thankful and so grateful for the services that we do provide for that. So that made you feel good, and makes it worthwhile for what we do. It makes you feel some sense of value, some sense of gratitude, because you are able to help someone. Once again, it's not about us, it's about the customers that we serve.
What I miss most about life before quarantine is a hard question to answer. Because I have actually, as a Black woman, felt safe in my own house because I've had to be in my own house. I felt that my Black boys are safe in their house because they have to be in their house. So I've missed the hugs. I've missed, we serve at Impact Community Action about 140 people and have continued to have our doors open through the pandemic. So from a work perspective, I miss even some of the greetings because people who are already high anxiety, high emotion because they're here because they need something is really difficult because we can't get close to them to even give them some assurance, what we normally would do, because we have to keep that distance for them and for us. So that's probably what I miss, because you used to really feel it when you were downstairs or walking through the building, because you could help people with their nervousness. You could help them with their anxiety. We could give them hope. That's what we're supposed to do at Impact, provide hope, inspiring help, and real opportunities for self-sufficiency. And it didn't feel very hopeful.
At one point, at the beginning of the year, we had like 15 people that tested positive and who were out of the office. And we're a small agency. We have about 53 staff. So when you got that number of people missing, that impacts what you do greatly. And to have them say, don't worry about it, we still can do what we need to do. I'll take a little bit of this. I didn't have to figure it out. You know, they just knew that there are people out there that need what we do, and we can't close the agency. We can't all be at home, and they just pulled together. So for me, that is what I'm most proud of, is the staff that I have here and our ability just to do what we had to do because we know the need is great.